Hello, my name's Callum.
And I'm Guy.
And we both live in Saltwood in Kent. Welcome to our podcast series, Saltwood Speaks. The COVID-19 pandemic that started back in March 2020 has affected us all in different ways, and, alas, it's still dominating the news media. Through this series of short, reflective conversations, we would like to share with you the varied COVID experiences of some of the residents of our ancient village. Today's participants represent two generations of the Erskine family, both living together under one roof. First, there's Ute, who is originally from Germany, but moved to the UK when she married her English husband in 1960. Ute is retired, but has always been very involved in village life. Then there's her daughter, Alison, who is head of school Key Stage 1 at Whitfield Aspen School, that brings together mainstream and special school pupils in a truly inclusive learning environment. Here they are in November 2021, reflecting on how they have each, and together, experienced COVID-19 over the past 22 months.
Okay, well, I remember the first day that COVID impacted us, bizarrely, and it was the day of the first lockdown.
Yes.
Because it was Ailey's birthday.
Yeah.
And every birthday for Ailey, we always went and got fish and chips from Hyde. And I was standing in the queue, and there was this sort of murmuring through the queue that this would be the last evening of being able to get takeaways because of COVID starting and the sort of lockdown happening. And I remember thinking, phew, I'm glad it was Ailey's birthday.
And also what I also regretted was that I couldn't go to my aquafit anymore because my neuropathy got so much worse because I couldn't do the exercises that I used to do.
But you did miss going out and about, Mum, because you did lose a lot of mobility at that time, didn't you?
Yes, I did, because I couldn't go to my exercises anymore.
You couldn't even go in down to town to walk along the high street?
No. I mean, people did wear masks, and you know exactly which shop you can't enter without having the mask on.
Yes.
And luckily enough, people will abide by that.
Yeah, oh, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes, especially who wear shop.
They were great.
Yes. He won't let anybody in without a mask even now.
Quite right too. Yeah, because of course a lot of older people use that shop, don't they?
Yes.
And that would be really important.
Yeah.
Yes, but of course it was great in lockdown because both Callum and Ailey, who live in the house as well, they were on furlough.
Yes.
So they could keep you company.
Yes.
Callum did the garden for us, Mum.
Yes.
You remember?
Very well. He did a good job there.
He did a very good job for us.
Yeah.
And Ailey made sure that you were okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was the bits that you think you're glad that we're out of now?
No, I mean, it's much better now because people know now more how to keep the distances and so on.
Yes.
And people are more used to it now.
Yes.
And but I mean, some people are stupid. They still don't wear masks even in town.
Yeah.
And but
I guess now people have had their injections. Maybe they're not as worried as they
probably,
were.
Yes.
Church, you missed church,
yes.
didn't you? Going to church, but we're back there now, which is quite nice.
Yes, but before we went every week, and of course you miss also meeting your friends there.
Yeah, you really missed your friends.
Yes, that is a shame, and somehow it doesn't pick up so quickly anymore now.
Yeah,
because too many people are now used to their isolation. And
do you think that's still the case with some of your friends?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah. People worry about coming and sort of being in your house and things still. Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky that friends of mine still come up and see me. And every week.
Yeah.
Rain or shine.
Yeah.
But no, we are very lucky. And they sent people who were ill back into care homes where they infected everybody. And I thought it was horrendous what they did.
That was really frightening, wasn't it?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And it should never, ever have happened.
Yeah. I think with the care home part, that was hard because, of course, you knew people who were in care homes at the time, didn't you?
One couldn't visit them anymore.
No. No.
And
you lost touch with some of them as well, really, because they became, well, their sort of Alzheimer's and dementia got so much worse, didn't it? That actually it was really difficult to re-establish
to connect
contact
with them anymore. Yes.
But I guess nobody knew anything, did they? No. And of course you had the privilege, I guess, of because you're German and you watched the German television too, you could see two countries handling the pandemic in quite different ways.
Yes,
which was...
and their numbers were much less than in this country.
Yes.
Yes. And I don't know why, really.
No.
But I think they took from the beginning, they took more precautions.
Yes.
And people did abide by them.
But I mean, I remember being very grateful that you weren't in a care home. Because we all lived together, you know, you and I lived together.
Yes. And even friends of mine who still came up, we just only, met on the patio. And luckily enough, it was lovely sunshine.
Yeah, but that actually, they only could do that after they'd had their jabs.
Yeah.
Couldn't they?
Yeah.
And once they had their jabs, they were up here every week, weren't they? Making sure you were all right. They were your Aquafit friends.
Yes.
Who missed you at Aquafit. Yes.
And I mean, I wouldn't even go now to the Aquafit anymore because the changing rooms are too close. And I wouldn't like that. It's too much exposure.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think it was a shame because Aquafit kept you so mobile.
Yes.
And it would be really hard for you to go back and do Aquafit.
Yes, I could do all the exercise, everything without a crutch and without a help in the water.
Yeah.
Which was lovely, but...
That was one of the big casualties of COVID for you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was good that we were all living together. Even though when I came in, because I work in school, I couldn't come and say hello until I was marched upstairs by Callum and Ailey to go and have a shower.
Yeah.
Make sure that I was able to be near you.
Because we are here a community on our own, 3 generations together.
Well, it was interesting because you remember that the people phoned you from sort of community hub, didn't they, to say could they help in any way?
Yes,
and
definitely.
You could say no, you can kind of work with people who do need help. We're fine here.
Yes, of course.
Which was nice.
Yes, like Louise, she did a lot of work for other people.
Yes, quite a lot of people did that. They got involved in the community hub, which was amazing.
It was lovely.
Yes, yeah. It was nice when, in the summertime, when Callum and Ailey, or Callum particularly, had some friends back and we could hear them outside, even though they couldn't come inside. It was nice to hear, you said, it's nice to hear people together laughing again, and as they sat round the fire pit.
Yes. Callum always said, did we disturb you? I said, no.
It was nice to hear, you always said.
Lovely to hear the sound of laughter.
Yes. It's interesting that that's something that had been missing somehow, the sound of laughter.
And the first year that it was so lovely and sunny.
Well, you're right about the weather. It was hot, wasn't it?
It was very hot.
It was a gift.
Very, very sunny.
Yes. Mm. I think that probably was the saving grace through that time in many ways, wasn't it?
Definitely.
But if you were lucky enough to be able to go outside into a garden. Yeah, it was interesting because I had a meeting with the head teacher of the school last week, and we were sitting remembering what it was like for us during COVID time, and he and I both used the word brutal. It was brutal, actually. To be responsible for the welfare of vulnerable children, and lots of families in Dover where I work, they work in care homes, and lots of the parents, so we had a lot of key worker children coming in.
Yeah, of course.
We had a lot of key worker children whose parents were sick with COVID, and they were very, very worried, sticking to the guidance for staff. Yes. So there was a lot of mixed messaging that went on first off, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, which didn't help matters much.
No.
The questions that were arriving by email at all times of the night, early morning, from staff, anxious to come in, even though we were expected to quite rightly stay open for key worker children. Just not knowing if what we were doing was the right thing. The advice was difficult to make head or tail of at best, really. As a school in Dover, we got a lot of support from other schools in Dover. We were part of a sort of a learning community, and I think every day we were WhatsApping or Zooming. Who knew what Zoom was? Zoom?
Yes.
Well, you hated it, I loved it, and then we all hated it. I liked it. We did some good quizzes.
Yes.
With the family, didn't we?
But I never did know the answers to it.
That's all right. It's who you play in the team with, Mum, that counts, not whether you know the answer.
Yeah.
But Zooming, I mean, certainly at work, Zoom became, or Teams or whatever these kind of meeting platforms that you use are, that became the way to meet. And actually that's kind of carried on. And before
even
March,
the Queen Zooms, you see.
Yes, absolutely. Government Zoom.
I felt especially sorry for people in London, where they lived in apartments without a balcony and without a garden.
Well, we've got those people in Whitfield, Mum, who live in flats.
Really? Yes.
Yes. We're really lucky in Saltwood, because when we used to go out and about, you'd see so many families outside at Brockhill Park. It was lovely to see.
Yeah.
And you kind of think, I wish this was happening all the time anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good. But we are so lucky to live in this village where that,
of course,
is part of where we're growing
definitely.
up.
Yeah.
The experiences of the people in this village, I suspect, will be quite different to people who live in, much more built-up places and not availability to those. Because you couldn't travel to them. You had to be able to walk to places, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so things have gone back to normal in school now. They're kind of...
Yeah.
COVID. We're just living with staff being off with COVID and children being off with COVID,
yes,
as opposed to having to. There is no real guidance now.
Is there anything else you've recognised? Because I know you do stuff like the film club, that would be things like that. Are things like that back to normal?
No.
No. I'd forgotten about the film club.
Yes, no, that is not. And also, of course, the Lads Club was closed because they refurbished it.
Yes.
And I don't quite know. I haven't heard what is going on there now.
I don't know who ran the film club. Yes, that's a real show, because that was that was getting more and more popular, wasn't it?
Yes, it was lovely. It was packed.
Yes.
But I mean, these days they would have to keep people apart, and then it wouldn't be financially possible to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, because, they have to get some money for the efforts.
Yes. It's nice to be able to go into the village. I mean, the village shop, I know, they worked very hard in the pandemic. I know they were trying to get deliveries to people. I know that because, you heard about it through social media, but also when I was going to get the paper and things. That they were great, weren't they?
Yes, and they are good, actually. They always are there, aren't they?
Yes.
Even got little things like milk and so on.
Yes, exactly. It was strange not hearing the bells on a Monday night, on rehearsal night. That was always...
Yes,
that's kind of part of the soundscape of Saltwood, wasn't it? And to not hear them, actually, when you hear them again, you thought, gosh, I haven't heard those for such a long time. And it's such a lovely sound across Saltwood to have, and I always feel really lucky that we have that sound. Talking about sound, it is quite interesting, because the sound of ambulances, I remember at the time, because the roads were so clear going to work, ambulances would pass you by, and in your mind you're thinking, I hope that's not somebody terribly sick from COVID.
Yes. But do you remember when they ferried me off to hospital?
Yeah. Oh yes, you did end up going to hospital in the middle of COVID. How could we forget? Yes. And they were trying to stretcher you out and you wouldn't let them. But that wasn't because of COVID though. Yes.
So they got me off to hospital.
Yes, but you refused to get on the stretcher. You walked around on your rollator, which was hilarious. Yes, of course. So you were in hospital during COVID. I'd forgotten that, actually.
Yes.
Yes, and that was quite strange. Yeah.
Yes.
As you think back, does anything stand out that surprised you about the COVID experience?
I think it was interesting how, there was this great emphasis on people working together. I mean, certainly, for example, that you wouldn't have known this, Mum, actually, but the close and where we live, we ended up with a WhatsApp group, and everybody was communicating through that. And I think, and people were really putting themselves out there to help other people, definitely. Yes. So somebody would say, there's a huge, because the queuing, obviously having to queue to get into all the shops, you weren't aware of that because I didn't let you go to the shops.
Yes, but I remember with Waitrose, the queue was all the way down, back up to the road.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was really lovely things like the WhatsApp group, people saying, I'm going down to Waitrose, give me your shopping list and I will get whatever, or Sainsbury's or Aldi or wherever, and we can do your shopping for you. And I think that people putting themselves out there for other people was definitely something that was a really positive thing that came out of that time.
Yes.
But yeah, I definitely think people working together was quite a feature.
Yeah.
I think I've been surprised how quickly that's dissipated as well, maybe. And maybe that's just a feeling I've got. And it's because people are being busy. But I think I'd hoped that might continue more than it had. I think I hoped that those connections that people were making with people would be a little bit more fast binding. And I'm not saying they're not individually, and maybe people are finding themselves individually, but it was like something like we're all in this together. And I think that shared experience, whatever it was for other different people, it was different for different people. Yeah, it had some really positive consequences. I think coming out of it now, I'm seeing the not so positive consequences of all of that time, which is interesting.
I mean, it only should get better now. And, and if people are careful, it should actually settle down. But I think this corona will be staying with us for a long time. It won't go away overnight, or not even in 1 year, because it's part of an illness now in this country and all over the world. And so we have to learn to live with it. Be careful. Have your mask always ready, and try to keep away from an infection. Yes.
So you need to stop going to raves at the weekend then, Mum, really?
Yes, I mean, but you see, whenever I meet friends, we always stay apart, or we sit, like this here. It's the closest we get to each other.
Yes.
And I think it will be for the future like this. And I don't think it will ever disappear now. How can you keep it away?
I think we've got a long way to go in recovering emotionally from this. To me, there isn't a comparison to be made with other events in history. It's an event in its own way. And I think people appear in some situations quick to react. And I think people's emotions will need some time to settle down. And I think sort of emotionally, I think as a country and probably across the world, there will be ripple effects for this for a long time to come in relationships with people. Social relationships, I think, will have taken a big hit. And it's interesting, people's mental health is spoken about a lot, and people are now recognising that is a thing. But I think we need to reflect back on the sort of the generations before us and their resilience and ability to kind of come through that. And I think that is something that we need to reflect back on as well. I look at my mum and think she's one of the most resilient people I know. And we've got a lot to learn from that. So, yeah.